because this conversation is going to revolve around the top rookie draft picks. And Mike Lombardi, who we actually worked with briefly, right?
Yes.
When he was at FS1, it was a short stay, but he was here for a moment.
When we first got there, right?
Yep.
Right? When we
Yep.
first
and
started.
I liked Mike.
Yep.
I liked
Mike
him.
is a great guy.
Yep. Really good guy, very knowledgeable. Worked in the league and the NFL for a long time in the front office, and actually worked with the New England Patriots, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I think he used to hold the tripod for the camera, but that's another story.
That's not what it says on his resume. It just has some type of special title that he was with New England.
Video
in the Belichick era,
coordinator. Right. Yeah, okay.
Right. But former NFL general manager Mike Lombardi. He was on the Straight Fire podcast, another podcast I never missed, with Jason McIntyre and our own Rob
he was
G.
slumming this morning. Rob G.
I know. I'm shocked that y'all got Mike Lombardi to come on y'all podcast, Rob G.
Yeah, it costs a lot of money, but we'll be all right.
So you're
that took away y'all whole 2022 budget, huh?
That's right.
But anyway, here's what he said, and this might surprise you, Rob.
Yeah. All through the draft, all we heard about was how ridiculous it would have been to trade up for Mac Jones, how he wasn't worth the third pick in the draft. Twitter dominated that narrative, right? Mac Jones isn't good enough. The 49ers only made that trade to get Trey Lance. There's no way you should trade up to get him. Justin Fields is better than Mac Jones. Is by far the best rookie quarterback. Is by far the best rookie. He didn't go to a playoff team. He went to a team and he's just feeling his oats. They haven't really developed. They haven't been able to really. They haven't gelled as an offensive unit yet up in New England. They're going to take some time.
All right, so he's giving major league love to Mac Jones. Look, Boomer Esiason, Rob, a former NFL MVP. A lot of people might not know this. You see Boomer on TV as a commentator, and he looks old. Not old for, he looks good for his age, but, he's older to the millennials. And you don't know, Boomer was a good player. He's not a Hall of Famer, but he was a good quarterback and actually won an MVP one year. But he said something similar, Rob. I do think he kind of pumped the brakes a little bit later, but he did say something similar on WEEI in Boston. Here he is.
Who would be the first quarterback taken?
Well, I think Mac Jones would be. I mean, I think everybody sees that, and he's in the perfect offense. But again, you have to remember that Jacksonville's starting over, the Jets are starting over. Trey Lance is sitting on the bench just waiting for Jimmy Garoppolo to go down eventually. So I think in the situation that these quarterbacks find themselves in, Mac is in the best situation for a young quarterback to be supported by his team, by his coaching staff.
See, Rob, I agree with the I'll just say this and then turn it over to you. I agree with the second part of Boomer's statement. There's no way I think Mac Jones would be the number one pick. If it's Jacksonville, they taking Trevor Lawrence. There's nothing we've seen in these first 2 weeks that would convince me they wouldn't be taking Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
So I disagree with that. But
this is that New England roots, Chris. I know he doesn't work there anymore, but to say that he's the best quarterback out there, he's in the best situation. The Jets are terrible. I don't care who you put in there as a rookie quarterback, Chris. Jacksonville, Urban Meyer, that's nice. Is he playing? Is he suiting up? Hello? They stink. Put Mac Jones on Jacksonville. Don't tell me they're winning games.
It'd be ugly.
Or put him in with the Jets. Come on, man, Mike. We got better than that. That's too easy. That's picking the low-hanging fruit. Come on. That's just way too. They went out, the New England Patriots went out and spent more money than I spent on a backpack. That's what they did. They went out and they loaded up, and to make it like they won 7 games. 3 starters opted out on COVID. Their quarterback was hurt.
Well, 6 players, 3 starters.
3 starters, Chris. Their quarterback went down. He had COVID, came back, never was the same. They still won 7 games. Don't act like it was bare bones and there's nothing there. Then they went out and Bill Belichick had a Christmas list and spent money like it was going out of style, like it came out of Tom Brady's back pocket.
$70 million, I believe.
Yes, we never saw them spend that kind of money, Chris. Have we? The Patriots?
No. I'm with you, Rob. And it's just funny to me that our old buddy Mike Lombardi said that. Like, and he didn't go to a playoff team. Like,
Right,
there's
right.
levels to this, Mike. And I
7
hope, Rob
wins
G,
is not that far
Right.
because the Bears made it at 8-8. What is
the
he talking
difference
about?
between 7 and 9 and the Jaguars? Come on,
Right.
right? 1 and 15. And Rob G, get on the mic, because this is a pet peeve of ours, especially Rob Parker's.
Yes, you already
Did
know. Go
you
ahead, tell him.
follow up?
Did
you
Jason
follow up? Did you say, hold on, Mike? Yeah, they didn't make the playoffs, but don't tell me there's the same where New England is and where Jacksonville. I bet you sat there with a smile on your face. Yeah, you're right.
Well,
What'd you do?
I did not participate in that interview. I don't participate in the
Did
interview.
Jason follow up or push back?
No.
See? Rob
He
G.
chuckled and smiled, didn't he?
Right.
A little
I
bit,
see.
yeah. Something like that.
But the point is that there's nothing wrong with it. Just say, dude, come on. It's not the same team. It's not the same circumstance. The Jets and the Jaguars are god-awful. Stop it.
Well, you know what? I will give, I guess, Jason credit in this, in that Mike has been on the Mac Jones train long before he started in New England. He was one of the guys who said at the time the reason why San Francisco traded up to number 3 was for Mac Jones. And he's the one who's been saying since then the only reason they didn't take him is because they got spooked by the fallout from the fans in the Bay Area, that why would you trade up for a guy like Mac Jones?
Right.
Well, look, and I like Mac Jones. You guys know I've picked New England to make the playoffs. And I think that Belichick is bringing him along the right way. I don't even want to put him in the same sense as Tom Brady, but it's reminiscent of, he didn't give Brady too much early on, and that's what he's doing with Mac Jones. He's letting the defense and the running game win the games, and Mac Jones just has to, be a solid game manager.
Because what do we have on the
and not
stats
make
from Mac
mistakes.
Jones? 1 touchdown and no picks? Is that all he has?
Yep. And again, they're 1-1, and that's fine. I mean,
And they beat an
I
awful
think
Jets
gradually,
team.
right? I think gradually though they'll add more to his plate. But bottom line is, there's no way he'd be the number 1 pick in this draft. Now, 5 years from now, when Jacksonville's had a chance to build a team, and maybe not even 5 years, 3 years, 4 years from now, and the Jets, we've seen Zach Wilson for a while. And Trey Lance gets, when Garoppolo probably gets hurt, and then Trey Lance is in there. And, after a little while, and we've seen these guys, then eventually you do say, look, the quarterbacks that's winning the most is the better one. But not after 2 games.
You know what it would be like, Chris? It would be like after we saw Lonzo Ball for a few years. You could say, if they redid the draft, he wouldn't be the second pick. It's not to say that he couldn't play or he wouldn't be in the top 10, but after watching him for 3 years, would you agree with that? He would not be picked second.
Oh, no way. No way. He wouldn't even be the first point guard taken.
No.
De'Aaron Fox would have went ahead of him.
Yep.
I can't remember who was first in that draft. But yeah, I don't know if it was, I don't remember if it was a point guard or not, but Lonzo wouldn't have went second. That's for sure. And Magic certainly wouldn't have said that his records were in peril. Right? It would Lonzo. But Rob, yeah, I agree with you. The bottom line is Mac Jones is in a great situation. He is in a great situation for him. And he's got a defense. He's got an offensive line. He's got a running game. He's got a very good coaching staff.
That stuff matters. That stuff matters
absolutely.
in football.
Absolutely. And we've seen, Rob, everybody gets hyped about the superstar quarterbacks now, and I get it. It's great to have one, right? But, Rob, we've seen plenty of teams win it without a superstar quarterback.
You don't have to have. Just don't turn the ball over at the worst time, right? Take control of the ball. We saw it with Baltimore when they had that, who was it, Brad Johnson with Baltimore?
No, it was Trent Dilfer with Baltimore.
Brad Johnson was with Tampa, right?
Yeah.
And they had, both of those teams, Chris, had great defenses. They used to score, get an interception and run it back. Like they were scoring like 15 points a game or whatever it was. Those defenses were so good, and you didn't, and the quarterback didn't have to do that much.
Right. Just be smart. Like you said, Jim McMahon, going back to the 85 Bears. As you said, every one of those teams had a superior defense that won with a pedestrian quarterback. So it can be done, but I just think you got to pump the brakes on this. I mean, right now, Rob, Chris, go ahead.
I got information. Just let me read this. Because the Jones thing. Okay, currently 6th in the NFL in completion percentage, right? So you look at that and you go, wow, that's great. But his ADOT, the average depth of target, currently sits at 5.7, which is 27th in the league, right? That's Football Focus. And Jones has just 15 pass attempts that have traveled beyond 10 yards and just 5 that have gone over 20. So you just said that. They have the training wheels on him, and they're not letting him make mistakes or do anything, because when you throw a ball 5 yards, Chris, good chance that it's not going to be intercepted. When you throw it 10, 15, 20, 30, there's a chance that somebody could pick it off. It's pretty simple.
And look, I don't want this segment, at least on my end. I'm not sure where you're at on him, Rob. You could tell us in a moment, but I don't want this to come off like a hating Mac Jones conversation. I actually like Mac Jones. Like I said, I've picked him to lead or be carried, whatever you want to call it, but to help the Patriots get to the playoffs. I do think he'll have the best rookie season because he'll win the most games and he's in the best situation. What I'm pushing back on is the notion that he is the best individual quarterback in this draft after 2 games. I still think Trevor Lawrence has, I believe, 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I still think he's the best quarterback in this draft. I still think Trey Lance has incredible potential. And Justin Fields as well. So I'm just saying I'm not ready to go where Lombardi and maybe Boomer Esiason is. Boomer, I'm not sure exactly where he was, but he did say he would be the number 1 draft pick. And Rob, even after all we've seen, there's no way I think Urban Meyer takes Mac Jones over Trevor Lawrence if the draft was tomorrow with all of this knowledge we've seen.
Nope, it wouldn't have happened. Nope,
right.
I totally agree. That's revisionist history because it just wouldn't happen.